Free, free Palestine! Thank you everyone for being here. We're just about to start, so if you want to gather around and come up close, we'll get started. Always was, always will be. Always was, always will be. Thank you for gathering here today. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. As we gather here today, we gather with the shocking news out of Boolaroo, Perth, against Monday's Invasion Day protest, where a bomb was thrown at the crowd, but that bomb didn't detonate. That is a racist attack. It is a white terror attack against First Nations people. And that attack is being diminished, is being sidelined within a narrative of this nation, a narrative that claims to not be racist, to have overcome its colonialism, to have overcome its past. Well, an attack against an Invasion Day rally, whether it's from somebody throwing a bomb or whether it's from March for Australia, shows us very much that colonialism is alive, colonialism is being promoted, colonialism is being funded, and it's at the heart of what we refer to as the settler colony, the Australian settler colony. And so when we gather here today in solidarity with Palestine, we say the colony will fall, and that white supremacy will fall, and there will be an end to colonialism here and in Palestine. And we say genocide is a crime from Australia to Palestine. Today we are gathered to reject the visit, the head of state visit of Israel's president. Shame. That visit is not a coincidence. He's not coming of his own accord just to visit a neutral country. Australia has stood by Israel since the beginning of this offensive against Gaza, since October 7. Australia has funded, aided, and abetted the genocide of Gaza. Australia has sent weapon parts that are being used to perpetuate genocide in Gaza. The Albanese government, the Labour government, has blood on its hands because it did not sanction Israel. There have not been sanctions against Israel. It did not uphold international law. It is not calling for the prosecution of war crimes or mass atrocities against the Palestinian people. And to top that off, it is now rolling out the red carpet for Israel's president. Israel's president is wanted by the International Court of Justice. He is a killer. He is a murderer. He has blood on his hands. He is visiting here. He's visiting this colony to solidify the ties between genocidal regimes, between genocidal entities. He is coming here to this settler colony because Australia is one of the last bastions of colonialism in the world. Because Australia also meets the vision of Zionism in its white supremacy and genocide of the indigenous peoples here. That is their friendship. There aren't many colonial states left in the world after the decolonial period. But Australia still remains a colony. And Israel is an apartheid state and a settler colonial state. And so when we gather together, we are rejecting both the genocide of the Aboriginal people here and the genocide of the Palestinians, and we are calling for freedom of all Indigenous people around the world. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! And with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. You all know her, Gabrielle De Vitry. She's been fighting a very hard fight in the Victorian Parliament. She's been fighting for the things that we want to see in our world. Housing, public housing, healthcare, schooling. That's what we should be about. Rather than putting funds behind the war machine, rather than putting funds behind the AUKUS, we should be supporting and funding healthcare and education. And with that, I'd like to welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, Tasneem, and thank you everyone for turning up and for having me here again. I want to echo Tasneem's acknowledgement of country and pay my respects to the Wurundjeri people and to First Nations people here today. Their struggle and the struggle that we support against colonialism and imperialism and oppression here is interconnected with the struggle against Western imperialism and oppression everywhere. Even after everything, I still find it hard to believe that Victoria, Australia, is rolling out the red carpet for an accused war criminal, for the president of a country that is still actively committing genocide. Herzog's comments were directly quoted by the UN Commission as inciting Israel's genocide in Palestine. Legal experts and human rights advocates are rightfully demanding that the Albanese Labor government rescind the invitation for Herzog to come out here. The Greens join those calls unequivocally to cancel his visit. Already, criminal complaints have been filed against Herzog, demanding that federal authorities arrest him on arrival. And yet, absolutely. And yet both federal and state Labor governments are welcoming this accused war criminal with open arms. Shame! Our Premier Jacinta Allen said she looks forward to welcoming him if he visits Melbourne. Shame! Just as they opened their arms for the Israeli ambassador in Parliament in 2024. For Labor to claim that they are cracking down on hate while welcoming a war criminal to our city is offensive, it's divisive, and it's dangerous. As a party to the Genocide Convention, Australia is obligated to prevent and punish genocide. And we call on Labor to uphold this international law and cancel Herzog's invitation. No Premier or MP should agree to meet with him. We are among hundreds of thousands of Australians who have come together to oppose Israel's genocide in Palestine. And we are called on, yet again, to protest against Israel's head of state. A state that has directly murdered 71,000 Palestinians, and it's just since 2023, not to mention all the murders that preceded that, and murdered hundreds of thousands more through a manufactured starvation, thirst, spreading of disease, and blocking of medicine. Shame! So it's a stain on both the federal and state governments here that they have invited Herzog to come and visit. They show absolute and utter contempt for the rule of law, absolute and utter contempt for our diverse community, absolute and utter contempt for the idea that we could ever achieve peace and justice. Contempt for all those who have been murdered by the state of Israel and all those who have lost their loved ones, who have been orphaned and widowed, who have no one left. Contempt for the idea of social cohesion. It's all just a cynical posturing. And instead of reckoning with their own complicity, instead of cracking down on the terror attack that was brought upon Boorloo, Perth, instead of reckoning with that and calling it for what it is, a terror attack, they just turn a blind eye. And we think, how much worse can it get? A Labor government still supplying weapons to a genocide. A Labor government here at home slowly decimating everything that keeps us happy and well and connected. Decimating our community health centres. demolishing and privatising yet more public housing. They want to break us down. And on Friday, after being told that they had to halt the demolition and privatisation of public housing, on Friday they announced 7 more buildings that they plan to dislocate communities from. 7 buildings here in Victoria, filled with elderly people who have been living there for decade upon decade, who call it home, who found their community there, who found security, and this Victorian Labor government wants to tear that apart. Yay! And for all our effort, for all the noise, for all the numbers that we have managed to gather in opposition to this interconnected assault on our communities, why is it still getting worse? I'm sure you ask yourself, as I ask myself every day, why haven't we been able to stop this genocide yet? And we know that the weight of power and money and greed is stacked against us, and that weight is a heavy weight to bear. But we have to remember that despite all this, we have made change. Without us, we wouldn't be holding this line and challenging it at every step. Together, we ended the partnership between the Victorian Labor government and Elbit Systems, Israel's largest weapons manufacturer. We did that together. We ended the Victorian Labor government's memorandum of understanding with the Israeli Defence Ministry. You and us together, our community did that together. And we cancelled land forces in 2026 here in Victoria. These are huge wins, but I know that at a time like this, it's hard to feel like they are wins at all. But we are never going to stop this thing in one fell swoop overnight. The only thing we can do is break down the pillars that hold it up, one by one. Continue to chip away. Continue to fight for what we all know is right and just. Even when there is so much chaos, even when there is so much deliberate evil, even when there is so much injustice, and even when it can feel so overwhelmingly hopeless. We know that a better future is possible, and we demand better. With our words, with our actions, with our entire beings, we demand better. It's not going to change overnight, but you are part of that better future. Turning up here week after week, relentlessly demanding better, living the future that we want to create together, where our leaders refuse complicity in genocide, where Palestine is free, where no person is withheld food or water, a home, medicine, family, or freedom for some sick political game. We can turn that game against them. We can turn politics against them. We are numerous enough to do that. And we must take every opportunity to have our voices heard. And the election this year in Victoria presents us with that opportunity to expose them and to work against them in their own game. And when you campaign against the status quo, when you support those who refuse to be complicit in genocide, you're not just sending a message. You are demanding better. You are challenging their power. You are replacing them, and you are changing the future of politics. So if you come to these rallies but you haven't yet been involved in elections, this is your next step to get involved. And the Greens will always stand by the Palestinian people. We will always stand up for peace and justice, and we will fight with you for that better future. Because in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. Thank you everyone for coming today.
Well, that makes more sense. So surely use 58.
Free the refugees!
Free the refugees!
Free the refugees!
Free the refugees!
Free the refugees! As Gabrielle was saying, we have the upcoming elections here in Victoria, and for the first time, well, I don't know if it's the first time, but definitely in most seats, we're going to have One Nation candidates running. Shame. One Nation is campaigning against the treaty process. It's directly attacking Indigenous justice. It's attacking refugees. It's supporting fascist groups and colluding and forming an alliance with fascist groups. It represents the kind of hate that we are seeing in power right now in Turtle Island, the United States, and across Europe. And that brings us together as a mass movement, yes, for Palestine, but as a mass movement that unites all of us here who care about another kind of world. A world that respects refugees, a world that has room for Jewish lives and Muslim lives and Palestinian lives, and of course a world where Indigenous sovereignty is respected. That is what our side is fighting for. That is who we are. And so when we stand together against One Nation or Zionism, it's actually a similar cause. Zionism is bolstering racial supremacy around the world. And when we reject Israel's President Herzog, it's because he represents the far right in the world. Scott Morrison was in Jerusalem at an so-called anti-Semitism conference that had far-right representatives and figures from across the world, including Nazis, in Jerusalem, in the so-called Jewish state. It is the apartheid state. That's why they're there. It is the state of racial supremacy. That's what brings them there. And that's what brings Israel's President Herzog here, because Australia too is a racial supremacist state. Shame, shame. And with that, I'll introduce Bassel. Bassel, of course, familiar to all of you, is a Palestinian refugee who has been calling Australia home for over 18 years. A son to refugee parents, he is a civil engineer who has previously been a member of numerous student and Islamic organizations in Melbourne and has taken part in a number of direct actions and rallies. Please welcome Bassel to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and extend my respects to the elders of the land, past, present and emerging, and any who may be amongst us today. In about 6 days from today, these lands will be defiled by the feet of the Israeli president. A visit that comes on the back of our own government's invitation to the guy that was proudly photographed signing bombs bound to be dropped on civilians and kids in Gaza. This is the war criminal who is quoted in the genocide case against Israel before the International Court of Justice for his incitement of genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza, where he said, in his opinion, quote unquote, it is an entire nation that is responsible. For those who don't know Ishaq Herzog, his family comes from Ireland. And despite being the 11th president of the state of Israel, is proudly described as the first Israeli-born president, ironically reinforcing the fact that Israelis are nothing more than settlers in Palestine, and that this genocidal state existed less than the lifetime of some Palestinians alive today. This is the president of a genocidal state that has been and still is, as we stand here today, ethnically cleansing the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, committing one atrocity after the other and violating every human right under the sun. This is the very same state that in 2010 faked Australian passports to carry out a mafia-styled assassination of Palestinian Mahmoud al-Mabhouh in Dubai, and the Labour government at the time did absolutely nothing about it. This is the very state that on the 14th of April 2024 carried out an airstrike targeting aid workers, including knowingly Zomi Frankham, who's an Australian citizen, and our Labour government did not bat an eye about it. This preposterous invitation of this guy is nothing more than a pathetic attempt to gaslight the Australian public, to deflect away from their failure in governing this land and their complacency in the genocide of the Palestinians, their imperialist tenets, and their double standard and moral bankruptcy. Our government somehow wants us to believe that there is a connection between targeting Jewish people on Australian soil and the genocidal state of Israel, that it would be befitting and necessary to roll out the carpet to the president of a country that is currently actively committing a genocide, a country that has killed an aid worker of our own who they are meant to represent, protect and care for, a country that is currently planning to build kids that they bombed to death for the last 2.5 years. Our government further wants us to believe that it will be relevant and necessary, and within a mere 36 days, to rush through enacting some of the most restrictive free speech laws these lands have ever seen, meticulously designed to silence this movement, to prevent the criticism of a genocidal state, and to prevent the criticism of Zionists, and stop criticizing them and calling out the war crimes and their sick ideology. They did not, and they still don't, do anything when kids burned alive, when hospitals were bombed, or when aid workers were killed. They did not even act when house prices went up, when the land burned, when our environment got damaged, when energy prices went through the roof. They acted when Washington rang, when weapons for a genocide were needed, and when the banknotes rolled into the coffers of their political parties. This government has reached a level of audacity that it somehow believes that inviting a guy that writes messages on missiles to be dropped on kids, is somehow socially cohesive to our society. What Israel has been doing to the Palestinians for 80 years, what it has been doing for the last 2.5 years in Gaza, is now coming to fruition at the hands of billionaires and degenerate political class, thanks to the silence and the inaction of hypocritical governments that serve the interests of those who pay them the most. The defilement of these lands that have seen their own share of bloodshed of the Aboriginal people by a representative of an imperialist project committing a genocide should concern every decent human on this planet. And it isn't only a Palestinian concern. It shouldn't only be an Australian concern. It is an obligation of principle that calls to exercise every right of the rights that are diminishing by the day on this land, to say to this government that these lands have no place for war criminals, and that we as a society have nothing to share with people that starve kids to death. Now more than ever, we must mobilize for Palestine, for our right to free speech and our political sovereignty. We must show up this coming Sunday to make it clear that Palestine belongs to the Palestinians, and that we on these lands, and the laws and the sovereignty of this land is decided by the people of these lands, not by Zionist lobbyists and billionaires. And even if we fail to stop the degenerate from touching down on this soil, the least we can do is to make him hear us clearly that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Always was and always will be.
Aboriginal land.
Thank you.
Occupation is a crime from Australia to Palestine.
Occupation is a crime from Australia to Palestine.
Genocide is a crime from Australia to Palestine.
Genocide is a crime from Australia to Palestine.
Today is heavy because we have been coming here week after week watching the atrocities committed before our very eyes. And now we are living through the whitewashing process of such atrocities, while over 500 Palestinians have been killed since the so-called ceasefire, and just last night, 30 Palestinians in Gaza were murdered. Shame! This is whitewashing, the same way that other genocides have been written out of history, out of official history. Australia should develop a political memory of the atrocities committed here, of the massacres committed here. It is only then that it would be able to look clearly, as we do, as all of us do, at the massacres happening in real time. How is it, and you're all asking that question, how is it that a Labor Party, a Labor government is inviting somebody who's got genocide as an accusation against him in the international courts? How does that happen? How is that possible? It is possible because we have not reckoned with who we are here as a nation. It is possible because this nation still is built on genocide, on dispossession. It is part of the US empire, part of the war machine, and part of the imperialist offensive. So when Zionists focus here, it is not only because what we're being told that there was the massacre in Bondi. The focus on Australia long precedes Bondi. The focus is because Israel wants a friend in the world, a last standing friend in Trump, in the Labor Party, in the UK. Who are Israel's friends other than Australia, the US, and a few other nations that still stand for racial supremacy? We are here fighting against such system. We are here to bring down such system, and they can smear us. They can say that the Intifada is a hateful thing. We are seeing people rising up around the world in LA, and you saw that maybe last night in Minnesota, and here people are rising up against real issues that are affecting them, against oppression. And if that's Intifada, long live the Intifada! Long live the Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
Intifada! Intifada!
Intifada! Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
Our Jewish comrades who are here, they call Warsaw an Intifada, the Warsaw Uprising. There are uprisings that happen all around the world, and the Palestinian uprising is one such uprising of history. The Palestinian Intifada is a legitimate movement, and we are members of such movement, and we are proud to be with the Palestinian people and members of the Palestinian struggle. Long live the Intifada!
Long live the Intifada!
I'll introduce here Jerome Small, who will speak more to that and to global resistance worldwide. Thank you, Jerome.
It takes a lot of lies and a lot of big lies to carry out a genocide. And we know one of the founding lies of the genocide carried out here is the lie of Terra Nullius, an empty land, which is a twin of the founding lie of Israel. Was it a land without people for a people without land? I want to spend a few minutes going through a couple of other lies if I have time. And one of them, Tasneem just referenced, the lie of the so-called ceasefire. What kind of a ceasefire when 31 people were killed just yesterday, including at least 6 kids, by terror from the air from Israel on the people of Gaza? What sort of a ceasefire is that? What sort of a ceasefire is it when kids who have been malnourished for 2 years, who have been deprived of adequate shelter deliberately by Israel for 2 years, who attend hospitals, who can't supply sustenance, who often don't even have anaesthetic, when those kids start dying, what sort of a ceasefire is that? Anyone who talks about a ceasefire, well, they're also talking about the engineered catastrophe which is being inflicted on the people of Gaza and on the people of the West Bank, is telling a lie. And we know what that is. We know that that catastrophe is designed to deprive the Palestinian people of the conditions of life, which is the dictionary definition and the legal definition of genocide. Lie number 2 is that Albo and Penny Wong are doing something when they murmur some sweet diplomatic nothings about how much they support Donald Trump's attempts to bring peace to the Middle East, when we know it's basically just a genocidal real estate deal. It's a lie that they're doing anything. Call it a genocide. Sanction Israel. Stop the flow of weapons. That wouldn't be a lie. Albo and Wong lie every time they say they give a damn about what's happening in Palestine. Which gets us to the third lie, which I've heard from so many Labor and Labor-aligned figures over the last few weeks, is that Isaac Herzog is some sainted figure who just floats gently with, quote, no operative role in the genocide being carried out in Gaza. Oh yeah, no operative role. He's just the guy who signs the bombs. No operative role. He's just the guy who, a week into this phase of the genocide, gave the green light by saying there are no innocents in Gaza, saying to unleashing every genocidal instinct of every servant of the Israeli state in Gaza, which they have carried out in full for the last 2 years and more. Oh, he's got no operational role, we're told. He is just the head of a state which is carrying out a genocide. The only place that he belongs is not in Melbourne, not in Sydney, not in Brisbane, not even in Israel. The only place he belongs is in The Hague. Let's not go with that lie either. And Herzog's visit gives a critical moment for our movement. If the visit of the head of state of a genocidal state is met only by a few scattered protests and a few outraged media releases, the genociders, their enablers and their allies will know that they've had a victory. They will know that post-Bondi they've succeeded somewhat in putting our movement for justice, in putting us on the defensive. Which is why it's so great to see a national call next Monday evening, not tomorrow night, next Monday evening, 5:30, in cities all around this country, including Melbourne, 5:30 at Flinders Street. People will be rallying, saying, fuck off to The Hague, you genocidal killer Herzog. And we have a secret weapon. Can you keep a secret? Well, it's not that secret. We have a secret weapon, and we have just over a week to deploy it. It is this leaflet, advertising that rally next Monday night, the 9th of February. And I'm reliably told that there are very large supplies of these easily available. These weapons in your hands, put into a letterbox, a leaflet with a conversation given to someone, and a conversation. Apparently we have a new rail timetable today. Let's get out to the train stations, at your workplace, at your school, wherever you can, get these leaflets around. We need next Monday to be huge. And I want to finish on 2 lies that we're told all the time, which maybe they're the most important. One is that we make no difference. And this is actually an easy one to puncture, because if we make no difference, why are they so fucking scared of us? If we make no difference, we would have put 300,000 people on the Sydney Harbour Bridge and they would have said, sure, go again. We'll lay on the buses and the trains for you this time. But no. They know that every time we take to the streets, every time we persist beyond just a couple of token protests, we are imposing a political cost on the people carrying out this genocide. And even if that's all we can do, that's something worth doing. And they know the thing that keeps them really concerned is that sometimes persistent mass protest can spill into open mass resistance. That's what we got a glimpse of in Italy in September and October of last year, when dock workers and then the whole working class shut down the whole country for a couple of days. Just gave us a glimpse of the sort of power that we have. As Kotheen referenced, that's what we see in the United States right now. We're a persistent mass movement against the brutality and the terror of ICE has erupted into a shutdown of schools, of many businesses, of the streets of Minneapolis, and then I hope you've seen the last couple of days, tens of thousands of people in city after city in the United States taking to the streets, calling for a general strike. That is what really terrifies them. And now there's no easy formula to get there. That requires strategy, it requires tactics, it requires a shit ton of leaflets probably. It requires building forces to carry this out. But one thing it definitely requires is persistence. And we have to persist through lies, through slander, through bullshit hate speech legislation. You want hate speech? Try Rupert Murdoch. You want hate speech? Try Kerry Stokes. We have to persist through grief. We have to persist through all of that. We have to persist because we want to challenge the biggest lie of all, which is they claim that it's their world. They claim that the world is their little toy, and our lives and the lives of the Palestinian people are just pawns in some game that they play for their profit and their power. They think that, but they know that every empire has fallen. And we should know that the world is ours to win. So let's keep organising, let's keep turning up, let's keep calling out the genocide, let's keep getting these leaflets around, and let's keep fighting until we win that world. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a world to win, that's right. Before we move forward, I just want to make a really important call out for marshals. We need marshals. Especially in this climate where our movement is under attack. There's agitators that keep coming. They record us, they harass some of the crowd. Our marshals try to evict them from our protests, and they try to keep the community safe. So as you're part of the protest here, you can also take on that role. You can just come behind me and join the marshal lines and get used to that as well for Monday. On Monday, we are protesting, as Jerome said, not this Monday, the one after, 5:30 p.m. as this war criminal lands here on this continent. And so we hope to have a lot of numbers. We want you to leaflet, but we also want you to support the medics, the legal observers and marshals so that we can keep growing our movement. I wanted to say that it's really important that we have strong numbers on Monday. There's a more critical event also, which is the day that he will be in Melbourne, in Naarm. That is the 12th of February. He is giving a public appearance, and we're not sure what the venue is, but once we know, we will make a call out, and we want you to share it, because that will be a snap action. We want to make it loud and clear that he is not welcome here. And we want to charge him with genocide. That's critical. When Netanyahu was hosted by the Trump administration, people protested all across the country, okay? We need to demonstrate that here, that our movement is viable, that we can follow through on the things we say. When we say shut it down, it means shut it down. It's not just a dream, it's not just like an ambition, but we want to shut it down, and we want to see sanctions. So say it with me, sanction Israel now! Sanction Israel now! Sanction Israel now!
Sanction Israel now!
Sanction Israel now! Sanction Israel now! Sanction Israel now! Sanction Israel now!
Sanction Israel now!
Thank you. I'll just introduce our last speaker before we march. Sarah Barini is a young woman from Naarm of Lebanese, Italian and Maltese heritage. She holds a Bachelor of Arts major in politics and is undertaking a Master of International Relations. Sarah is an immediate past executive member of the Board of the Islamic Council of Victoria and organizing member of Hobson's Bay for Palestine. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the sea to the river!
fear.
Genocide is crystal clear.
Genocide is crystal clear.
No more hiding, no more fear.
No more hiding, no more fear.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
I think we can be louder than that. Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Herzog's not welcome here.
Free the people, free the land.
Free the people, free the land.
No peace on stolen land.
No peace on stolen land.
Free the people, free the land.
Free the people, free the land.
Justice we demand.
Justice we demand.
Free the people, free the land.
Free the people, free the land.
Liberation we demand.
Liberation we demand.
Free the people, free the land.
Free the people, free the land.
Sanctions we demand.
Sanctions we demand.
Sanction Israel now.
Sanction Israel now.
Louder, sanction Israel now.
Sanction Israel now.
Sanction Israel now.
Sanction Israel now.
Thank you so much, everyone. I would like to begin by acknowledging the rightful owners of the lands on which we are all gathering on today and paying my respects to elders past, present and emerging, as well as any elders that may be here with us today. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land.
Always was, always will be.
Aboriginal land.
Just as Palestine always was and always will be Palestinian land. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the sea to the river.
Palestine will live forever.
Friends, I have never felt so sick to my stomach. Despite an ongoing genocide for over 77 years, despite ongoing illegal Israeli occupation of Palestine, despite us being a witness to an ongoing genocide for over 2 years, the Australian government has decided to do what? It has shamefully decided to roll out the red carpet for the president of a genocidal regime. Shame. It has decided to roll out the red carpet for somebody who celebrates the murder of the Palestinian people. Shame. It has decided to roll the red carpet for somebody who is actively responsible and participating in genocide. Shame. Is this what justice looks like? You tell me, is this what justice looks like?
No.
Is this what leadership looks like?
No.
The right thing for Anthony Albanese to do was to never have extended such a shameful invitation in the first place. Shame.
Shame.
The right thing for Anthony Albanese to do was to impose sanctions over 2 years ago. And instead of listening to the demands and calls of community for over 2 years, he has decided to cave to the demands of the Zionist lobby and the genocidal state of Israel. Shame. This morning, we woke up to the horrifying news of another 31 Palestinians being killed in Gaza. Since the ceasefire in Gaza, there have been attacks on Palestine and particularly on Gaza each and every single day. Shame. And Anthony Albanese thinks that he can convince us that it is acceptable that he is rolling out the red carpet for somebody who is participating and responsible for this genocide. Shame. Attacks almost every single day. There is no such thing as a ceasefire. There is no ceasefire in Gaza. just as there is no ceasefire in Lebanon. While Palestine continues to be bombed and Palestinians continue to be killed, the Lebanese people continue to be bombed and killed at an accelerated rate as well, despite there being a so-called ceasefire in place. Since the beginning of the ceasefire, there have been over 10,000 ceasefire violations. In a matter of months, shame. Over 330 Lebanese people have been killed within those months. Since the beginning of the ceasefire, shame. And over 448 Palestinians have been killed since the beginning of the ceasefire. Shame. We have seen Palestinians continue to be denied aid, which continues to be restricted. Palestinians are dying from malnourishment. They are being deprived of essential things, essential necessities like food and water and medication. And at the same time, Anthony Albanese is rolling out the red carpet to Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel. Shame. Shame. Louder, shame. Shame. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. This is a disgrace. A disgrace. It is disgraceful even more because we know that Anthony Albanese is completely aware of what the Israeli government is doing. He is aware that what is going on is a genocide. He cannot try and convince us otherwise. We need to remember that he used to stand at protests just like this and demand a free Palestine. He used to demand an end to the Israeli occupation. He used to demand an end to the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people. And what has he done since being Prime Minister? Nothing. He has done nothing for Palestine. Shame. Shame. Now is not the time for us to give up. Now is the time for us to remember our power. Now is the time for us to remember our responsibility. They want us to lose hope. Never. They want us to think that they are winning. Friends, public opinion is on our side. We must believe that. Public opinion is on our side. No one can cover up the injustice that is being committed, as hard as they try. The atrocities that are unfolding are clear as day for everyone to see. Now is not the time to lose hope. Now is the time to remain steadfast. Now is the time to continue to demand justice. And as Tasneem was saying, when we say shut it down, it means shut it down. He will be here in Naarm. Isaac Herzog will be here in Naarm. We have a responsibility, knowing full well that he is going to be here, to shut Melbourne down. Are you going to be there to shut Melbourne down? Yeah. Are you going to tell all of your friends and family to join us? Yeah. We need to make sure that we are filling the streets of Melbourne. Each and every single corner of Naarm must be full of people that are making this visit incredibly uncomfortable for him. Incredibly uncomfortable for him. We must not let our government roll out the red carpet for a genocidal regime, for a genocidal president. We must do the job that they refuse to do. And that job is holding them to account. We want to see you there on Monday the 9th of February at 5:30 outside of Flinders Street Station. We need to see everyone there for the nationwide protest.
It is incredibly important that we mark off his visit incredibly strong and united and consistent in our messaging that he is not welcome here. Do we welcome him here? No! And on the 12th of February, keep your eyes out on Free Palestine Melbourne and Free Palestine Coalition Naarm social media pages. We will be announcing a snap action. Again, to make his visit incredibly uncomfortable when he's standing right here in Naarm. We need to make it incredibly clear that we will not stay silent. Despite our governments rolling out the red carpet, we are going to shut the door in his face. Palestine needs each and every single one of you. Please do not give up. Continue to be as resilient as a Palestinian people in Gaza and across the world. We must not give up. We must continue to speak truth to power. We must continue to shut down the streets until our government decides to do what is right. Let's make them regret ever extending this shameful invitation in the first place. Who's with us? Israel out of West Bank.
Israel out of West Bank.
Israel out of Gaza.
Israel out of Gaza.
Israel out of Palestine.
Israel out of Palestine.
Israel out of Lebanon.
Israel out of Lebanon.
Out, out, Israel out.
Out, Israel out.
Out, out, Israel out.
Out, Israel out.
Louder, Israel out of West Bank.
Israel out of West Bank.
Israel out of Gaza.
Israel out of Gaza.
Israel out of Palestine.
Israel out of Palestine.
Long live the Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada.
Intifada, Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Long live the Intifada.
Thank you so much, everyone.
So the IDF has actually admitted to 70,000 Palestinians killed. Shame. These are the figures that were directly killed. So not the figures that are under the rubble, and not the figures that died from starvation, but the figures that died from direct gunfire. Shame, shame. So it's out in the open, and that's the point. It's to commit genocide in the open, to create a world of genocide. And when we think about the future of Gaza, the one they offer, it's one that the colonizers sat down and drew out the borders and the maps of the world we already live in. So when you think about Botany Bay, that is Gaza. When you think about Hawaii, that is Gaza. When you think about Guam, that is Gaza. So it's both the past and the present and the future all in one. We refuse that Gaza. We refuse the deals that Israel's president is coming to make here in the name of development and the industrialization of Gaza. Australia wants to profit off the Trump kind of world. Australia wants to be part of. It's signing onto that kind of world. So I want you to say this chant with me and say it loud and clear. Give me a sec. Herzog, you can't hide, we charge you with genocide. Herzog, you can't hide, we charge you with genocide. Herzog, you can't hide, we charge you with genocide. Herzog, we can't hide, we charge you with genocide. 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the bombing now, 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 now. 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the genocide now, 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 now. All right, we are the people. We're going to start marching. Let's go. 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, stop the bombing now, 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 now. 1, we are the people. 2, 3. Herzog, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Herzog, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Herzog, you can't hide. We charge
Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Intifada, Intifada! Long live the Intifada! There is only one solution! Intifada revolution! Yeah, I think at the stall. You can get pamphlets from the stall, everybody. You can get some pamphlets and give them out.
I'll get the other one. Can you hold this? So I'll get the other one as well. Please.
I didn't do anything. The police just started pushing back. From overseas. people are occupied. Resistance is justified when people are occupied.
Resistance is justified when people are occupied.
Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Big Bull, take, the IDF, they are the same.
Thanks everyone for joining in. We'll be dropping out for a few minutes